Okay, and we are on. This is talk number 3 in our series of transportation. We're still in the month of February. If you've not taken the time to get the overview of the general things about transportation and our last episode on public transit, you'll want to go back and check those out. Today, we are going to be discussing Car Life 101. I'm Jen Lynn. This is Debbie. Say hi, Debbie.
Hi.
And welcome to the Unpopular Playground. Debbie is going to start off because we just like it that way. Debbie's got some awesome things to say. Sometimes she lets me go first, but um, I like Debbie to go first because she's awesome. Your
Aw.
turn, Debbie.
All right. Oh, welcome back. Well, Car Life 101. This can refer to basic car ownership and maintenance or the lifestyle of living in a vehicle. For ownership, it involves regular maintenance like fluid checks and following the 30, 60, 90-day service schedule, which includes oil changes, tire rotations, and inspections. For living in a car, it means acquiring essentials for sleeping, cooking, and safety, and managing logistics like power, storage, and sanitation. Now we're going to cover for basic car ownership, regular maintenance. Follow your car's maintenance schedule for oil changes, tire rotations, and inspections of batteries, brakes, fluids, and other systems. For fluid checks, periodically check essential fluids beyond just the oil, like transmission fluid, coolant fluid, and washer fluid. Clean the battery terminals periodically, especially if you see corrosion to help extend the life of your battery. Follow service intervals. Pay attention to key service milestones such as your 30,000, 60,000, and 90,000 mile checks, which are crucial for the long term health of your vehicle. Some vehicles, especially the newer ones, will have a warning that flashes on the dashboard that reads Service Engine Due as a reminder. And this is really crucial. I know a lot of people see that and they just keep hitting the button to get it off there so that they don't have to see. I am OCD. So the minute that sucker pops up, I have my car scheduled and I get it all done. I have a Honda CRV that it's a 2006 and I gave it to my husband when I bought my 2017 Honda, and when my husband passed away, we gave it to my grandson, and it's got almost, oh my gosh, it's got close to 300,000 miles on it. Thankfully, my son in law is very good about keeping up on cars and working on them. So my grandson will have this car until he finally gets to the point where he gets a job and buys a car that he wants. How keeping up on your cars and servicing them will keep your cars running. When I bought my car, I figured this is the car that's going to last me until I die because that's probably when I'll finally reach my 300,000 miles. I don't travel as much as I did years ago when I was traveling all across the United States and stuff. So these are things that are very crucial. And, you know, you can check your book and see what needs to be done. And when I bring my cars in last time, because I just moved to Laughlin a year ago, and I checked and I saw exactly what was due for the 80,000 mile checkup. And I went in and I had a picture on my phone and I said to the guy, okay, this is what needs to be done. I said to him, I want you to take a picture of this. I said, and when I get my receipt, I want to make sure that all these things were done for the 80,000 mile checkup because there's a lot of things like rotating your tires and all that stuff. I said, I don't just want an oil change. I want, the complete 80,000 miles. So he's like, okay, yes, yes, that's what we do. I go, all right. I said, because I called one place and they go, oh, yeah, we do oil change. And I'm like, yeah, but do you rotate the tires? Do you do this? Well, no. And I'm like, all right, I'm not coming to you. So,
Yeah,
and
you got to make sure.
now I have a guy that I will continue going back to him because I like to just stay with one guy. I won't go to Honda because they'll rip you off and then you'll get your car and they'll tell you, oh, this needs to be done. You need to replace this and that and the other thing. No, I mean, I won't, because when you find a good mechanic, they can take care of your car just the way Honda did. And these people, like I said, if I ever needed parts or things like that, they're like, we can get parts for any car. We service all cars, all makes, all models. So keeping your car serviced will keep that car running until it just falls apart. So make sure you service your car. On that happy note, I'm going to turn it over to Jen and see what she has to say about basic car ownership. Then we will get into living in a vehicle, van life, and car camping.
All right. Well, yeah, you brought up a lot of good points. Some of the things that you didn't mention, Debbie, was about when do you get to that point of getting a car? A lot of times, like Debbie, you'll be blessed to be able to have a family member give you a car, or they'll make available one of their cars to buy for cheap, which was my case. Um, I wasn't, my mom didn't give me the car. Had a 77 Toyota Corolla. And she told me if I wanted to drive, I needed to have a job because I needed to be the one to take care of it. That's where I learned about insurance. That's where I learned about having to, if something goes wrong with it, the gas, the
Uh-huh.
maintenance, all of that kind of stuff. If I wanted to roll, Jen needed to pay for all that stuff.
That's right.
Was not given to me. Mommy didn't pay for my gas, my insurance, or any of that. And she didn't charge very much for it. But there's to be said of even buying from your parents. I thought it was the best that she did for me is making me buy that car, even though it wasn't very much, because when I used my own money to buy that, I was invested and I
Right.
took care of it. I
Right.
washed it. I pimped it out, as the kids say today. Bought the extra wheel things. I painted, I got the cool seat covers and the driving wheel thing. It was like my extra space. It was treated like my extra room, as I had the best of everything. And I even had the little stick shift covers. I mean, everything. I took so much pride in having that. So it was a used car. So some of you young people might decide to buy a used car because most people don't have 26,000, $30,000, and you might not have the credit to be able to get the money to be able to make payments, even if you do have a job,
Right.
because you don't have credit. And we're going to go over that in our financial literacy class sessions later on that we will have in some later episodes. That's going to be one of our themes before the year this season is out. So there's a lot to go into it unless you have a co-signer. That's, you might have a, if your parents or somebody does want you to have a more reliable vehicle, sometimes they'll co-sign with you, which means that they ultimately take responsibility for that loan if you don't pay. So if they're going to do that for you, they're going to be on your ass to pay. There's no other way to put it. And they will light you up if you don't make that payment, because that goes on their credit and it's going to make their credit bad. So if they are willing to do that for you, or anybody is, you better take that commitment seriously, because you will lose that relationship if you screw that up, if you don't make that payment and screw their credit up. The new versus used, also new cars, it's not an investment, it's a liability, because you lose value as soon as that car drives off the lot. It's
Uh-huh.
already lost value.
Right.
So that's one thing to keep in mind. It depreciates, but the benefit is that you don't have any other owners. You're the only owner. And if you know that you're going to take care of it and keep it for a while, buying new would be a good option, because you want a reliable car. And if you know you're going to keep it and take good care of it, do the maintenance like Debbie mentioned, that could be a wise investment. And then you have, when you do buy a used car, some things to keep in mind. You want to know how much mileage is on it. You want to know how many owners. You want to ask about the accidents. If this car was in any accidents. And a lot of times you can look that up online. You get the VIN number, you can look that up online and it'll be reported how many accidents it's had. And then why are they selling it? Are they selling it because they're moving, or are they selling it because it's got a bunch of problems and they're just trying to push their problems off onto you? Maybe they didn't take care of it. Maybe they didn't maintain it and they're just trying to sell that off to you. So I would recommend taking that car, not buying that car, that used car, unless you take it to a reliable mechanic, your mechanic, not theirs. So those are some considerations when buying a used car. Also,
Jen,
sometimes,
I can jump in. I would also say
yeah,
Carfax is the greatest thing, because if you go on Carfax,
that's it.
it will tell you everything about that car, and you will know exactly, am I getting a lemon, or is this car worth the purchase?
There's something you punch in the VIN number and it gives you the whole history of that whole
Yeah,
vehicle.
that's a great, yeah, it's a great reference for when you're buying a car, especially a used car.
And then you have leasing. Do I buy or do I
Leasing,
lease?
yeah, but if I can just interject,
Absolutely.
leasing, leasing is, I mean, if you don't have any other way to get a car and that's all you have, I mean, that's all you have. But leasing is really a waste of money, because you're paying all this money and you own nothing. You eventually have to give the car back, or you're still making this balloon payment at the end. And so you've just laid out all this money and you have nothing. It's like renting a house. You rent a house and then you leave and you paid this guy's mortgage and you have nothing.
Well,
It
the only thing that I would say about leasing, because my car was actually leased to begin with, because I was able to get lower payments. But the thing was, the difference is that I love that it was a brand new car. Number two, I knew that I was going to refinance it and I was going to buy that car.
so you did
And
lease an option.
I did lease with
Yeah,
option to buy.
that's
Yeah,
what
because I knew I was going to buy it. I
yeah.
think it was technically a lease, and I got a co-signer because I had some credit issues.
Okay.
So it was, for me, it was much easier. My payments were lower, and then at the end of the lease in 2 years, well, the person that co-signed for me, it was all in her name for the first 2 years, so she was willing to do it because her credit was beefed up. And then once I took it under my name at the end of the lease, then my credit started going up because it was in my name. It was refinanced, and my payments were just about the same because it depreciated enough to be able to make the payments reasonable by the time I refinanced it into my name and
Yeah.
actually technically bought it. And then I refinanced it again for a lower payment with another company. So there can be benefits. I mean,
But
I would say
you really got to check into that, because when you lease it
you
and
do.
have the option to buy, does the lease money, does that go towards, you know when you want to buy it, does all that money go towards the purchase price?
It wasn't, yeah. And in my case, it was not that way. It was
Yeah,
all pretty much a waste.
right, that's
But
what I'm saying.
when I went to go buy it, the car was lower. The car had depreciated and we
Yeah,
settled on a price because I did it through the same dealer. I
yeah,
actually had the same person that leased the car to me. I went back to him to go redo the paperwork, and it was through Honda Finance. Put it in my name. We renegotiated another price, and also I worked in some more. What is it? The maintenance checks. I worked
yeah,
in about 6 different maintenance checks on top of that. I negotiated to my benefit on that.
yeah.
So, but
Those are things that people have to be aware of, because, like you say, the money that you paid when you leased, that was really lost money. So people
it,
have banned that. So don't think that when you lease and then, okay, if you go back to, and then you're going to purchase it, oh, that money went towards, the buying of the car. No, that money was gone. So now you're starting all over again. That's just what I'm saying. That's what people have to
Oh,
really.
absolutely. Like I would lease again
Yeah,
if I were in the situation that I knew that I was only going to be at a certain place for a
yeah.
short time, and I wanted to have reliable transportation because it's going to be cheaper than the bus and all that kind of stuff, and just
Oh
to
yeah.
make a small monthly payment for a couple of years, and then at the end I can just turn the car in and not have to worry about it.
Right.
To me that would be more peace of mind, and then just be done with it, and then I go on my way and I don't have to worry about it because I might have my own car at
Right.
home, and I don't want
Right.
to worry about transporting my car there, where I can just lease one for a year or 2 years and then be done with it.
No,
So
I agree.
there's advantages and
I'm
disadvantages.
that for the young people, they really understand what leasing is about. Because when you hear people talking about it, oh, you lease it for this, it's like, oh, they make it sound so wonderful. Like, I'm going to lease it and then I'll have the option to buy it. Well, okay, but when you buy it, all that money you paid for it, that's gone. You're not.
Yeah, that's pretty much gone. I think there's very few lease to buy options now. I don't even think they do that anymore. You would have to ask, or at least that money would count towards the purchase price.
Right.
You would have to make sure that that's a specific, that that's worked in the deal.
Yeah.
Otherwise, pretty much don't count on having that be count. It'd be just like renting a house. None of that goes towards it unless you do an option to buy,
Yeah.
which will be covered in our housing option. I think that's our last set in this whole series of the Great Escape. So anything particular to living in a house, getting your own housing, that's going to be covered in May in our
Right.
May issues. So you
I
know,
didn't. I didn't want to interrupt you. I just
oh
wanted to
no,
touch on
I think that's important, Debbie.
that
This
people.
that's what this is all about. If we got
Yeah.
something to say that's pertinent, I think that's perfect, because otherwise it's not a discussion, it's a monologue. I want you to jump in, and because you know me, I'm sure as heck going to jump in when that's
Yeah.
applicable,
No. No.
because it's applicable
Right.
to that part. So yeah, I thought that would be a good part to start out. If you're going to get a car, you have to know these things
Yeah.
and these considerations. You go to a dealer, they're going to want to fix you. They're only going to want to tell you the monthly payments. They don't want to talk about the total price of the car. They want to just focus on, oh, we can get your payments at 350. But if you're only paying 350 and you don't think about the total price of the car, you're going to be paying that 350 until you die.
Right.
So you want to know the total price of the car so that you can pay that off in a reasonable amount of time, or know when you want to trade it in, possibly for another car. So, and then like I mentioned before, your credit score, if you're going to try and do that on your own, if you're just coming into the world and you've not worked a very long time, you're not going to have. My son doesn't have credit cards or whatever, so he's barely got any credit at all. So he's treated in the credit world as somebody with bad credit because he doesn't have any.
Right.
So it's seen the same way. So you might not be able to get that new vehicle. You'll have to think about getting a cosigner to start out until you can start building your credit up. And then we talked about insurance already in our January episodes. Debbie went a whole lot into the maintenance and the fuel routine. I think we've talked before about filling your gas tank when you get to half a tank.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
for emergencies, having that be a safety thing. Knowing how to jump start a car would probably be important. Having those tire pressure, knowing how to check the oil and check your battery, and having a pair of jumper cables in your car so that if your battery goes out, you can help your friend do a jump.
My daughter and son-in-law bought for me. It's an automatic. You carry it with you. It's a portable jumper cable. You just hook it up to your battery, jumpstart your battery. You don't need another
You don't
car.
need another car.
Another car, and it holds its charge. I carry it in my car. If I'm going on a long trip like this weekend or last weekend when we went to Vegas, I just bring it in the house and I plug it in to make sure that it's at full charge. So that in case, God forbid, you get there and you come out and the car don't start, I always carry jumper cables in the car. I just charge it, put it underneath my seat, and then
Oh,
it's
that's
there
good to
so that
know.
case, yeah, I mean, it's the greatest gift I've ever
Oh,
gotten.
I think I want to look out for one to have one of those. That's even better than just having jumper cables,
If
you
you have
know?
a second, I can go get it from my car,
Oh, sure.
show it to you
Yeah.
so that any, watching this thing, you
While
can,
while you're doing that, I'll go through the emergency kit.
you
And
do.
then while you're doing that, I mentioned for your emergency kit, you want to have jumper cables, a first aid kit, and a good thing to have also is roadside assistance. AAA is probably the best. That's the only one I have. Sometimes your car, a deal in your car manufacturers might have roadside assistance available as well. And
Oh,
I would say even an extra set of clothes. So, oh, okay, you got it, Debbie.
yeah. This is the box. It's called the. Oh, let me see. Car jump starter, and then
Oh, nice.
going to show you what it is. Actually, I mean, it's like it's just so
Where do
easy.
you get that?
I think he got it at. I think you can get it at any,
Like
probably
auto store?
any hardware store. Yeah, or like a,
Okay.
like a car store. Like, I don't know, what are the car stores like?
O'Reilly's is
And then,
AutoZone,
and if you can't find
Pet
it there,
Boys.
yeah, if you can't find it there, you can always go to Amazon and look. Okay, so this is the deal. You have this here, right? Okay, and then here's the thing itself. Okay, this is the power pack.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so what you
Oh,
do,
that's so small.
I'm telling you, it's the greatest. And
Nice.
you plug. Wait, what did I do here? Yeah, you plug. Oh, did I do this upside down?
It's almost like an AED for cars.
Basically, it is.
I remember the first time I did an AED, especially for lifeguarding, I was like, oh, this AED is just like jumper cables on a car.
Okay, so you plug this piece into here. Here's your cables.
Look at that.
You put that on your cables, and then vroom, start your car, and your car starts.
And that's pretty self explanatory. One will say positive, one will say negative, and it'll
Yeah,
be on your batteries.
yeah.
And you'll just clip it on,
You get the little
whichever one is plus and
tab.
whichever one is minus. And each one says on the little handles, you
Yeah,
just match them up on your batteries. One goes on one clip, one goes on the.
just like regular cables, and this
So,
plugs into the wall to charge it. So, like if you're going on a long trip, now mine is totally charged, but if you're going on a trip, plug that into the wall because this here is telling you that, yeah, it's already charged, and it's got power
yeah.
going to it. But you plug this into the wall, and then I'm going to take this off because I don't want to zap myself. When you plug this into the wall, there's a little light here, and it'll light up, and when
Oh,
it's
okay.
all lit up, then it'll be green, and then it's ready to go. These things here, there's like four little, one, two, three, yeah, four little lights
Love.
here. They'll blink, boom, 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 boom. So they'll go across, and when all four of them are green, it's total charge. I can have this in my car for months, and then if I go to plug it in, all three of them will already be lit. So I'm going.
Lasts a pretty good time.
Oh God, it lasts a
That's
long
nice.
time.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? It reminds me of a time when I had to go drop something off at work. And so I decided to go into the parks a little bit. When I came out, there was a poor family that had a bunch of kids and they were stuck at the Disneyland parking lot area. They didn't have jumper cables, and anybody that was willing to help, they
Aw,
didn't have jumper cables either. I happened to be there and see them, and I had jumper cables, so I was able to help them do it. They didn't even know how to do it. A young family,
yeah.
the wife, the girlfriend. I mean, I don't know. The adults did not know how to do the jumper cables,
A lot.
and they didn't have any. And and I had some, and they had no idea, even if they did have jumper cables, how to do it. So I had to go, and I kind of forget. I'm gonna have to go review myself, but I know I have to have my car turned on in order to do it. I just got to remember. I got to go back and review which
Well,
ones
yeah,
to
your
put on
car.
first, and then which ones you put on, because I know there's a certain order that you have to do it in, and they have plenty of YouTubes on how to do jumper cables.
You just plug it in, and you could see because they're battery caps. You got a
That's
red.
probably the best thing to get right there.
Yeah,
Especially also a dash cam for Christmas, because there's too many scammy people that are cutting you off in the front, and because you're the back person, it's going to make you the
oh
one
yeah,
at fault. Some people will park, they'll get you to pull over to the side, and then they'll pull up and they'll back right into you, and they'll say that you hit them, and it's your word against theirs. They
yeah,
got the damage on their backside, and so you got to look out for that stuff. So just to review, jumper cables, first aid kit. I prefer what Debbie has there.
yeah.
Have
Oh, and
extra
wait,
water.
tell you the company.
Fly Link Tech. So
Yep.
keep that in mind. Fly Link. And then
And
I would have some extra clothes in your car as well, extra
oh yeah,
shoes,
yeah.
food. And Debbie,
Water.
while you were gone, I mentioned the roadside assistance AAA. I think is probably the best one.
Oh, I always have that. That's part of
Yeah.
with the car.
Uh,
Yeah,
and then defensive driving. Always avoid distractions and be aware of aggressive drivers. Everybody's got road rage now, and they won't think anything of hunting you down. You got somebody riding your tail, just pull over and let
yeah,
them go.
yep.
Pull over and let them go ahead of you. If you want to try and start something with them, they will hunt you down. They will follow. I've had people, even I'm not doing things on purpose, it's because I wasn't able to pull over, and they actually followed me off the freeway. I had to pull into a cops. I pulled into the police officers or whatever, and then they take off. Do not go home if you get somebody chasing.
No, no,
Do not go home.
no.
I've had a few scary events like that. If I sense anybody tailgating me or whatever, don't brake check them. Do not brake check them.
No.
Just do the best that you can to pull over and let them go on. Be mad at somebody else, because there's been increased cases of people chasing people down and killing them.
Yeah,
So,
people
because
are.
you got in their way. And then I would say parking, know how to parallel park. Learn how to parallel park. A lot of people do not know how to parallel park. And, that's going to cost you a lot of walking. If you don't know how to parallel park, sometimes that's your only option.
Yeah, especially in big
Wow.
cities.
And I would recommend for safety, it's weird, really weird, Debbie. I looked on the statistics. Statistically, America's the only country that does not back in before they park.
I
As
always
a rule, we'll try and either pull through so that when I'm in a place,
you
I
can
can
get
just
out.
pull out and go, instead of, because if you just pull in and you have to back out to get out, there people are not going to wait for you, and then you could take a chance of running somebody over. It's just an extra risk that and headache
Yeah.
that you don't need. It doesn't take that long to pull in. Also, like if there's a curb, I'll pull in on a curb where the curb is on the driver's side, so
Mm-hmm.
that there's nobody next to me, and I can get in and out safely. I don't have to worry about being kidnapped in a van.
Right.
This,
Yeah,
this
women
next to me, that's
never.
a little bit scary.
Yeah, women should never park next to a van
You
because
know,
I had a friend years ago parked next to a van. This is when I was in college when I first started, and when she went to her car, there was somebody underneath the van, and they took a knife and they slit her Achilles,
yeah.
and
Oh,
she
they've
dropped to the ground, and they threw her in the van.
been doing
Lot.
that.
They took
Yeah.
lots. And yeah, I mean, it was not a pretty picture. And she
Oh, yeah.
survived. But yeah, it was not.
And sometimes you might not be seen again because people are into human trafficking now.
Oh, yeah.
You can either be a sex slave or forced labor for something else, and you'll never be seen from again.
Nope. Nope.
Because it's not always just sex. It can be, they can use you for working somewhere else,
Yep.
hard labor.
Yep.
They can take you to a different country, and you're screwed. So you can always ask for assistance. Look out for who's next to your car. And if you park near a curb and you park where you can get in, like I mentioned in the last episode, have a pair of gloves that when you touch your car, look for razor blades that you can open the car door and get in. Don't linger in the parking lot. Don't linger in the parking lot. Get in, do your business, and go.
Yep.
So those are some of the things. And like Debbie mentioned, the only other thing I have is keeping those maintenance records. And if you have those extra safety tools like dash cams, navigation tools, and all that, that'll make reselling your car much easier.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's one of the things I look for. Did they keep up the maintenance? Did they take care of their car? And if they don't have the maintenance records, I think I might be getting somebody else's problem. No maintenance records. I'm not buying that used vehicle.
Yeah.
My vehicle, I travel a lot. I have a
Yeah.
Honda as well, and I love my Honda. I'm almost at 150,000, but you know what? I've had that car since 2018. That car's as old as when I first met you. Remember, it was brand new when I
Yeah.
first met you because I was afraid of keeping it at the parking lot across the street from a live stream. There was no parking. We had to park across the
I
street there.
know.
I thought somebody was gonna. I was so afraid that some of my tires were gonna be missing and up on blocks
I
because
know.
so many other people's cars have been found that way.
I know.
So it's it's really scary where you park your car sometimes. This is not just about you; it's about the car parts. And Hondas are probably the most famous, the most desired cars for car parts.
Yep.
So if you have a Honda, look out and be aware. Make sure that you keep your car mind where your car's parked too. If I will always park in a car parking garage, like when I had to go to my speech therapy appointments, it was right in the middle of downtown LA where they had tents on the streets. People were pooping in the streets and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. So you have the Academy Museum right there. So you had a mix of really nice buildings, museums, and all this kind of stuff in the middle of a little tent city and all this kind of stuff. And they had all these parking areas that were just trash, but they had a really nice parking garage, and I think it was $18 to park in that. And the others were cheaper, $10, but I had to park. It was outside,
Uh,
and they wanted you to give your keys. Oh, and they would just kind of cram them in there and then move the other cars around. Yeah, nope, not leaving my car here. So
yep.
I paid the $18 for a long time. Then I found out that if I got there before 9 o'clock in the morning, it was only $10. So I would go there early and then go to the Academy Museum and just sit out in front because it was a nice little area there that you could sit down there. They had a little restaurant and everything. And I'd just go hang out there and then go to my appointment. But my
Yeah.
car was safe. I felt
Right.
it had a nice little elevator and everything, but I was too scared to go to the other parking lots in the area.
Yeah.
But that's all I have for car safety and car life 101 as far as acquiring a car and some safety tips.
All right. Well, now let's dive into living in a vehicle, van life, or car camping. So, on this topic, I have for sleeping. Use comfortable and insulated bedding, such as self inflating pad or a foam mattress topper, and bring layers of clothing for varying temperatures. For comfort, install window coverings for privacy and security, and consider a fan for warmer weather. LED lights provide interior lighting without excessive battery drain. Kitchen, because you're going to have food. A power station is essential for charging devices and running small appliances. A collapsible tea kettle or a camp stove can be used for cooking. Carry a fire extinguisher, a first aid kit, a tire inflator, jumper cables. A dash cam can be a valuable safety addition as well. Keep trash bags for garbage and use plastic bins or collapsible items for efficient storage and organization. This is important, especially depending on where you do your camping. Wildlife loves to get into plastic bags. The bins are perfect, keep out any kind of wildlife, raccoons, bears if you're camping near woods and things like that. Make sure, do not do your potty breaks in public. Make sure you go somewhere where there's public
Yes.
rooms. I mean, have consideration for people. You're a human, not an animal. Make sure you go to a gas station to use their bathrooms. But yeah, when you go and when you're living in a vehicle or you're doing van or car camping and that, you know, treat it like you're doing regular camping. Make sure you have everything neat and tidy and clean up after yourself. This is Mother Earth, and we're all here to protect and preserve it. So take care of your belongings and pick up behind you. Enjoy. There are joys in doing that. And I'm going to let this one go to Jen because Jen did a lot of car living and car camping. So take it over, Jen.
Absolutely. When I travel, I do a bit of stealth camping still because if I'm just going on a road trip and I just want to get there, I don't want to pay, $100, $200 for 4 hours of sleeping.
Right.
If I'm going to be paying that much money to stay overnight, it's going to be somewhere where I can enjoy the amenities and hang out in there and
Right.
enjoy the full scope of everything.
I agree.
Um, so a lot of times I've done that. And like Debbie mentioned earlier in some of the earlier episodes, if you're doing that, do not post real time locations. Do not let people know where you're at. Do not let people know that you are doing that. I would not recommend that. I see a lot of people, they go online, they have YouTubes, they do give their tips, which I think they're very brave. And I would recommend doing that. Some of the things that I would say of I did that I can say is that I was forced in by circumstance, just wasn't ready to rush to get something right away. And I wanted to save a little bit of money. There was a lot of freedom in it. I actually loved it. It was nice. I could just go be anywhere and be where I needed to be. And I had a lot of time on my hands. I had a lot of extra time because I was already in the area where I needed to be. I did lifeguarding in different areas that year, in different parts of the valley within LA. Some of the most fun I've ever had. Nobody ever knew that I did that because I didn't mention it. And what one of the things of what I did, I didn't need to worry about any camping equipment. I didn't need to worry about anything. I just had my normal things. I had a storage facility to keep all of my that was in a local area, centralized to where I knew I was going to be, and I would switch out my clothes for the week. I had all of my emergency supplies in the car. I did have the window covers, like Debbie mentioned, to cover. Now they have some fancy window covers that you can do, and like with curtains that go easily. But I did makeshift ones with towels on the sides, and then I use those pull out things. I just got a couple for the sides and they spread out. I just got extras. So I had one for the front, one for the sides, and one from the back. So I have 4 different window covers that covered everything just fine of where it needed to be. Um, a lot of, let's see, and as far as food goes, I just would eat out. I would have some things on hand in the car. I don't eat very much. So that was very handy for me. So I never really needed to cook or anything. And if I needed something, a lot of times I had friends, I have friends and family in the area. So I would go to their house, hang out, and eat there. Also, I would just go out and then I would have things like crackers and tuna, the little crackers and tuna things that I liked. And I had a cooler with that, and I had a little car coffee thing that plugged in that heated water up, and I had instant coffee. So it was very easy for me to do. And also I had a gym membership. LA Fitness was the most practical one for me because there's LA Fitness everywhere, and some of them are 24 hours, or they would open up really early at 4 in the morning and they're open until midnight. So I was able to take my showers there and work out, take my showers there. I got to know which gas stations were open 24 hours. And then a lot of times there's a lot of nice neighborhoods that you can just go park on the side of the road. Nobody bugs you. Some apartment complexes, You get to know the ones of where you need. I mean, I'm not going to disclose those. Sometimes I still car camp when it's convenient, because if I don't want to commute or I'm too tired, I'll stealth camp still, just to save my, because I want to sleep. Or if I know that I have to be somewhere early the next day and I get off later and I need to be somewhere early or to another area, I'm not going to drive all the way back to Riverside and then lose that sleep, lose that time and whatever, and then have to get up and fight the traffic again. You do with what works best. And if you know that you're going to car camp, you might want to consider that. Also, a lot of places now are having laws against stealth camping. A lot of people can't afford their rent. A lot of people are opting to just live in their cars because they can't get affordable housing. It's something that's still tempting for me right now, because who wants to pay $3,000 of rent when you can just car camp and save that money to eventually get a house? I don't know your situation, but I know that a lot of people are doing it. I've only done it for 6 months. I'm blessed to be in a good situation now, and I like it. And I'm just going to wait until I can get my own house. But I do stealth camp when I travel. So it is living in your car temporarily for a day or two or whatever, especially if I drive up north. But I'm telling you what Jen does not do. Jen does not post real time location.
Oh,
And I always let somebody know where I'm at. What's really good, I think, Debbie, you had mentioned it first that we did not mention yet. My mom put me on her Life 360. It's an app, and you can always know where your family members are at 24/7. If I'm traveling or whatever, I always let people know, even though they can see, I can say, look, I'm traveling. So if I don't call you or contact you, something's happened. Please look me up
yep.
and call the cops.
Daughter has me on hers. As soon as my husband died, she's like, "All right, you're on my 60. I know wherever you are, wherever you go." And then she'll say, "Ah, so you're at the mall." And I'm like, "What?" She goes, "Yeah, I saw you." And I'm like, "But I appreciate it." Somebody was like, "You don't mind that your daughter tracks you and knows?" I go, "No, I really appreciate it
Oh,
because
yeah.
if something happens, I don't have anybody at home waiting for me to get there to know that I haven't made it. But my daughter, she watches it all day, every day. And if she sees I'm here and I haven't left there in hours and hours and I never made it back home, she knows. And she'll send her husband, the detective, he'll be out scouting and looking for me, and her daughter and her son. I mean, it's like, so it's,
And that's a good thing.
oh no, I'm very blessed as far as that goes because,
Yeah.
and even the kids themselves to be like, Nani, what are you doing over here or whatever? And I'll be laughing. I'm like, oh, I'm visiting somebody. Uh-huh. In Vegas. And
That's funny.
so,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, and you have what's funny about that is I get all the notifications on when people need to charge their phones, because
yeah,
my mom put
oh
everybody
yeah,
in her thing.
yeah,
She put all my siblings are on her Life 360. Now my cousins
yeah,
are on it. I mean, just like everybody. It's like, okay, Kelly needs to charge her phone.
yeah,
Catherine needs to charge her phone. It's at
yeah.
10%. Billy just got home.
Everybody should be on your family's Life 360. I mean, it's, years ago I used to tell my husband, I wish there was a way we could chip our daughter so that, God forbid, if something happened, somebody kidnapped her, would be able to find her. Well,
Wait, that?
their phones they're attached to their phones, so we can do that. So,
Yeah, pretty
um,
much.
do you have anything else to add to this topic?
No, I think this is just about it for our Car Life 101.
Yeah, I don't have
I've,
any.
I've said all I'm going to reveal about
Yeah,
that. I would just say that there's a lot of videos out there on some more specifics, depending on how you want to do the van life or the car life.
right.
I would just recommend going to watch those videos.
YouTube. You can
Yeah,
find
YouTube is your best
on
bet.
YouTube.
Put in car life, and you're going to have a bunch of them. There's a
Yeah,
bunch of people on there that are sharing tips and tricks, people that have vans, people that are living in their cars and what they do. Some people are going all out, living off grid in their cars, where they have all the camping stuff, where they don't need anything, they don't need to
right.
have that. That was more of a domestic city girl, and I pretty much only use my car to sleep. When I travel, I
Yeah.
just use it to sleep, but I eat, sleep, go to the bathroom at normal places.
Okay, and on that happy note, we are going to close and we will see you next for navigation and safety.
And that'll be our wrap up. Stay
Yes,
curious, everybody.
stay focused. Bye.
Bye.